I'm not sure we got the rest of the exact like grammar of it.
Grade schoolers understand.
We will call this meeting to order, May 19th, 2026. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a quorum present this morning with 4 out of 5 commissioners in attendance. Commissioner Richards, hope you're enjoying that vacation. First order of business this morning, commissioners, is the approval of the agenda with no questions or corrections. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Under tab A this morning, we've got a public hearing for the Planning and Zoning Department, Resolution 26-5-ZO-01. A zoning map amendment for the zoning district of approximately 40 acres, more or less, to be amended from R2 SF, single family residential, to A, agriculture. And joining us this morning is County Planner Cassidy Brown. Good morning, Cassidy.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the properties that we're looking at today, it's actually going to be 2 parcels. The first is owned by Donna Binning, and it's located at 237 Winton Road. And then the other parcel is directly adjacent to the south of Ms. Binning's property, and it is owned by BLM. They're both zoned R2SF, single family residential with a minimum lot size overlay. Let's see. Current infrastructure for the properties in that area are Winton Road, which is County Road 66, and it's within Fire District Number 1 response area. So Deb Schultz is requesting a zoning map amendment for single-family residential with a minimum lot size overlay to agriculture in accordance with amendment procedures found in Section 20 of the 2015 zoning resolution. The zoning map amendment is for approximately 40 acres that are owned by Donna Binning. And then in order to meet the minimum district size of 80 acres for agricultural zoning district, the applicant on recommendation from staff is proposing to amend the zoning of the 640 acre BLM property directly to the south as agriculture use as well. The zoning amendment would allow for the property owner, who's a horse breeder, to construct an indoor arena for her horses. Indoor horse arenas are a permitted use in the agricultural zoning districts as well as commercial and industrial zoning, but we felt agriculture was the best fit here. So here is a view of the zoning map. You can see the 2 parcels that would be impacted by this proposed zone map amendment. So 237 is Ms. Binning's, and then the large parcel below is the one that is owned by BLM. You can see that directly to the east of the parcel that's owned by the BLM, there's also quite a large amount of agricultural zoning that's already in existence. All right, we posted public notice on the site on April 9th, and you can see the view to the north, south, east, and west there. And that'll bring us to the review criteria for this zone map amendment. First is that the amendment is consistent and compatible with the current resolution and the comprehensive plan. This amendment encourages growth and development to continue in an orderly manner and in locations that contribute to the economic and social well-being of county residents. The proposed zoning is suitable for the existing topography and creates buildable lots. Staff finds that it does. And again, the area already has large amounts of agricultural zoned land surrounding the BLM parcel to the east there. At one point, the properties there were zoned for agricultural use. I think that there might have been some plans for development or something like that, but it never happened. And so just kind of looking to go back to that agricultural zoning, which we feel would make more sense and work best for the property owner as well. 3, the proposed zoning is compatible with existing or allowable uses of adjacent properties in neighboring zone districts. Again, surrounded by some agricultural zoning, and most of the parcels that are adjacent to the property that is owned by Donna Binning are owned by Aggie Grazing. So we find that having more agricultural zoning there would be also compatible. Fourth is that the proposed zoning can demonstrate adequate public facilities, including roads, drainage, potable water, sanitary sewer. There's adequate public facilities already located on the existing property. 5, the amendment shall not adversely affect adjacent properties, communities, or the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Sweetwater County. And staff does not foresee that the zone map amendment will have an adverse effect on adjacent properties. We haven't received any negative comments, anybody opposing this, or raising concerns about the change. As far as I've seen in the past too, and the way that it's been done in terms of rezoning BLM owned property, they don't really ever agree or disagree, sign in on something like that. They're not too concerned with what the zoning particularly is, and we did not hear from them on this. And 6, the request conforms to all applicable provisions of this resolution. By zoning that southern BLM parcel that's adjacent to Ms. Binning's, then the request will conform to the resolution by making sure that the minimum 80-acre district size is met for agricultural use. And with that, at the May 13th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the P&Z Board voted 4-0 to recommend Resolution 2605-Z001 as requested by the applicant. And I would also state that the applicant was here during the P&Z Board meeting. I don't know, I know that they were reached out to last week. I'm not sure if maybe times got confused or something, but I do believe that that would be their intent to be here today, just so the board knows. And that's all I've got for this one. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Cassie. Appreciate the information. Questions or comments for staff on the proposed zoning map amendment, commissioners?
I do have. a
Commissioner
question.
Tillman?
Is that out north?
Yes, it's off of Winton Road, out north of Rock Springs, yes.
Answer area.
I figured it was, but I wasn't sure.
Any other questions, Commissioner
Mr.
Slaughter?
Chairman. Yeah, Casty, one of the things that came up in the planning and zoning hearing, and I think you covered it pretty well, was the issue with the BLM parcel below. And I think you explained it pretty well here today. I think there was additional information given that BLM did have the opportunity to comment on this. They did not do that.
Correct.
And so that was taken as their willingness to go ahead and move forward with this. So appreciated that. It was a good discussion during the P&Z hearing. So thank you on that.
Yes, thank you.
Additional comments or questions for staff? If not, we do need to open this up for a public hearing. So at this time, if there's anyone online or in the audience that would like to speak to the proposed zoning map amendment as presented, now would be the applicable time. And we will go ahead and close the public hearing. And commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve recommendation 26-05-ZO-01 for approval of a zoning map amendment from single-family residential to agriculture requested by Deb Schultz on behalf of Donna Binning.
You have a motion to approve by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman?
Oh.
Oh. I was gonna second.
Got a second by Commissioner Jones. We'll get you on the next one.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose nay. Motion's unanimous. Thanks, Cassidy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's going to bring us to the county resident comments and concerns portion of the agenda. At this time, if there's anyone online or in the audience that would like to address the governing body on any issues, now would be the appropriate time. We do limit this to 3 minutes, and the floor is open. With none, we'll go ahead and close the county resident comments and concerns portion of the agenda. And that's going to move us right along into tab B, commissioners. Before you this morning, under tab B is the consent agenda. We've got 10 items to consider for approval. First being the approval of the May 5th, 2026 meeting minutes. Second is the approval of the county vouchers, warrants, expenditure approval listing, and the commissioner's report. Third is the approval of the monthly reports. Fourth is the approval of bonds. Fifth, the approval of the abates and rebates. Sixth is a request to restaff a vacant position in facilities for the custodial department. Seventh is a request to restaff vacant position in the clerk's office. Eight is a request to ratify the coalition of local governments' comments on the scoping notice for the Red Desert Complex Herd Management Area Plan Revision and Wild Horse Gather. 9 is a request to ratify the coalition of local governments' comments on the Sweetwater Uranium ISR project mine plan of operations. And lastly, item number 10 is another request to ratify the coalition of local governments' comments on the BLM's proposed revision to add a categorical exclusion for forest and woodland density management. Commissioners, I would ask if there are any requests to remove any items off the consent agenda for further discussion. With none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Tillman.
I would approve.
A motion to approve by Commissioner Tillman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Let's move us right along into Commissioner comments, and Commissioner Slaughter, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the 6th, I held local working group one-on-ones with the Sublet Antelope Migration Corridor Working Group. We continued interviews with the members with the help of Governor's Deputy Policy Director, Sarah Dorenzo, and worked to help working group members identify recommendations and answer questions prior to our next meeting, which would be meeting number 4. On the 7th, I attended the Conservation District meeting. Attended their monthly meeting to provide them with information on companies that might be able to assist them with a mill levy initiative. Alan Matlos of Stiefel provided the names of 3 companies that provide services to local government entities for advertising and promotion of potential initiatives. I passed these names on to the Conservation District Board. On the 8th, I had another follow-up on the working group questions and weekly local working group meeting with Wyoming Game and Fish Department and the Governor's Office. We made final adjustments to the meeting number 4 agenda. We also discussed working group questions that were directed to Game and Fish for their upcoming presentation. On the 11th, I conducted the Antelope Corridor Local Working Group meeting number 4. Conducted meeting number 4 of the Antelope Migration Corridor Work Study Group. Spent most of the day deliberating recommendations for the final recommendation to the governor. It was a very productive meeting, and it set the stage for tying up all loose ends for the final meeting, which will be held May 29th in Pinedale. On the 12th, I once again had a review of that meeting with the governor's office, with Deputy Policy Director Dorenzo. We also started initial discussions on how to move forward with meeting number 5. Later that afternoon, I conducted the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board meeting. We approved requisitions for the month of April, continued discussions of the initiative distribution, presented a new financial ratings report from Moody's. The new rating is A1, which shows a very strong position that indicates we're still very creditworthy. The monthly sales tax distribution dropped again to $1,258,899.18. We have now collected 34 full months of sales tax and have collected $53,238,499.83, which means we're still well ahead of the projections that were made prior to the bond issue. On the 13th, I attended the Planning and Zoning meeting and a workshop. The board approved zoning amendments that we discussed earlier, and then held a workshop that centered around language proposals for short-term rentals. Land use will be providing proposed language on this issue in the near future. On the 15th, I worked with HR to plan and review the fiscal 27 budget for the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board. Gary and his staff were very helpful in providing information on the fiscal 26, in providing information from the 26 budget. On the 16th, I attended the Skyline Trail grand opening. It was very well attended. I think they've got everything pretty well in place on that trail now. On the 17th, I prepared for this meeting, specifically reviewing the scholarship applications. Just want to say, very impressed with the quality of the students who applied for our scholarships. spent a lot of time going through them, and this will be a very difficult process in choosing because they all seem to be very sharp young people. On the 18th, I attended another Sweetwater County Conservation District meeting and Zoom call to discuss potential levy direction with Public Alignment, a company that Tom Burris had contacted to potentially help with the levy particulars. Yesterday, the museum started their setup for this year's History Fair, which you can see is going to be taking place the next few days in the park across the street. And yesterday, I finished preparations for this meeting. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would stand for any questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any questions or comments for Commissioner Slaughter's report? Sure you look forward to, was it the 29th you said for the final?
Very much looking forward to the 29th.
I appreciate your work on that. I know that's been a lot bigger task than what I think we originally thought, so.
It seems like my comments tend to lean very much towards antelope over the last few months. So.
That's all right. Well, job well done. Mr. Tillman, the floor is yours.
Okay, on May 5th, I attended the FFA Green River High School Awards dinner. Denise Taylor Tolman was chosen as new president of FFA, so she is quite excited about that. On the 7th, I attended the LEPC, the Local Emergency Management Program meeting. Jesse Moreno provided updates. A Red Cross shelter training, an airport EOP training, an avian influenza training, a respiratory training, a Simplot burn training, and an unknown EMS unknown disease training have all been conducted in the county. They are also coordinating with the public health, using that as a point of distribution for emergencies for vaccines, water distribution, and other emergency equipment. On the 7th, I attended the Sweetwater County Conservation District local work group at 3 o'clock to identify resource priorities for the county for the Natural Resource Conservation Service program. 4 p.m., I attended a regular board meeting. They agreed to move forward with a $0.25 levy with a 4-year renewal option to be on the November ballot. And as stated, Commissioner Slaughter was there to provide additional information about how they might get assistance promoting that. On the 11th, I attended the Green River High School Honor Awards ceremony. Denise Taylor recognized for her 4.0. On the 13th, I attended the Wyoming County Commissioners Association Spring Board meeting. Traveled to Worland, where I joined WCCA board members for a get-together at the 10 Sleep Brew Pub and received a legislative update from a local legislator. The next day, we participated in the board meetings addressing policy, bylaw changes for membership status, dues payment, travel reimbursement, and continuity of interest. There was discussion regarding the change of boundaries to 6 segments instead of the 5 for the yearly congressional tours with key staffers. That will be on the agenda for the board of directors in December to decide on what counties should be included in those areas. Because this year they're on the end of their 5-year cycle, so they will be starting a new rotation around the state. This year, the tour is in the northeast part of the state. Micah Christensen and Tristan Rice, the legal representatives for WCCA, gave us an update on their federal issues involvement. Their goals are to strengthen county influence in federal decisions. Number 2, explore opportunities for state and national engagement. And number 3, build a long-term natural resource capacity for counties. WCCA is working on a website upgrade that will have a link for CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. You could click on that and see what the feds are going to throw at you next. There was discussion and approval of the WCCA budget. It was noted that the executive director continues to seek revenue share and business partnerships and memberships. He's brought in nearly $200,000 annually to the association. Our dues based on a 5-point formula will go up $817 this year, or 2.53%. On May 15th, we had a 2-hour session with the Wyoming Business Council Director and 2 staff members regarding alignment for impact. We shared ideas, identified gaps, and commended the Wyoming Business Council for successful efforts. Partnerships are key to the success of the Wyoming Business Council. It was noted that none of the commissioners felt that the Wyoming Business Council should be defunded. Maybe some reorganization, but definitely should not be defunded. On the 18th, I attended the Sweetwater County Combined Communications Joint Powers Board meeting. And our sheriff, that was his last meeting to chair, so good luck in your new adventure, I would call it. You'll be missed, I'm sure. The budget is progressing on schedule. There was lightning damage to Aspen Mountain equipment, but it was only offline for 1 day. But the link to the manned space towers for backup will be repaired this week. They are working on a proposal to provide IT services to the police department of the city of Green River. And my correction, because I said city last time, it's the police department and possibly the fire department. They hope to combine services and help it make a cost-effective system for the city, but also to be more efficient overall. Right now, they're preparing conceptual contracts are being prepared for the city. Well, we're not sure on the MOU if that has to come before the cities or not, so we're checking into that. The Joint Powers Board will be disconnecting from the analog system to a new system. And as I stated, Sheriff Grossnickel chaired his last meeting, so thank you. Last night, I attended the library meeting at the county library in Green River. A summer activity flyer was shared. The staff applied for a $22,000 grant from the Wyoming Cultural Trust to help purchase a van, and they think it will be approved. They'll know today. The parking lot project at the Sweetwater County Library is going out for bid and should be completed for construction. The construction should be completed this season. The HVAC system for White Mountain is also going out for bid. So thanks to our Gene Legursky and crew. Meeting room construction upgrades are complete at both Rock Springs and White Mountain libraries. Yesterday, I worked on meeting prep and scholarship winner selection. 14. It was quite a task that we have to deal with today. But great candidates, so thank you, students. Upcoming, I have Bitter Creek Working Group meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the college at room 1003 in Rock Springs. Thursday, I have Coalition Local Governments in Lyman at 10 o'clock and Golden Hour at 9 o'clock. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Questions or comments for Commissioner Tillman? Thanks for covering the spring retreat. Appreciate that. Sounds like it was quite the experience and a good venue with that, but
Yeah.
thanks for filling in. And
You're welcome.
any other comments? No? Commissioner Jones, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the 6th, I attended the Memorial Hospital Sweetwater County Board of Trustees monthly meeting. I've pretty much reported on most of the hospital news from the committee meetings I've attended, but things seem to be going pretty smooth up there. On the 7th, I joined Commissioner Richards, Tamara Kendrick, and Jeremy McCurdy for a tour of the UR Energy, the uranium mine out north of Wamsutter. The tour was very interesting and informative. I'll admit I didn't know a lot about what they did out there, so it was a great opportunity to learn and see that side of nuclear. It's pretty interesting to me to know that some folks are opposed to nuclear energy when the very chemical used for nuclear is mined here in Sweetwater County. It's transported in semi-trailers for use, and spent nuclear travels through Wyoming and Sweetwater County from all around the nation headed to the Idaho Falls for storage. Seems as though many are really not as informed as they could be. I know I certainly have a lot more to learn, but a lot of folks are not very knowledgeable on nuclear and what all's involved in it beginning to end. I certainly know that I've learned by speaking with people who work in the nuclear space and the tours I've taken that I've learned a tremendous amount. I think there's a lot more to learn yet, but I will say the more I learn, the less I'm afraid. On the 8th, I attended the Wyoming State Trails Advisory Council meeting, of which I've been a member for several years now. We deal with all things trails in the state of Wyoming, both mechanized and non-mechanized. This meeting was not very exciting this time around. We worked on some SOPs and just mostly did some housekeeping items. So not exciting, but certainly important items. We did receive reports from Wyoming State Trails on what they've been working on, as well as plans for the upcoming summer season. Winter season, there wasn't a great tale to tell for them, with grooming operations being restricted, but they did the best they could with the snow that they had, and sometimes low snow years are harder than high snow years, because you have so much wear and tear on equipment with low snow. Naturally, I had many conversations regarding our budget and the requests we'll face. One last thing, not one last thing, the second to last, there is money available from the big beautiful bill that $205 million for Wyoming's rural hospitals or rural health care. I worked to find out if any of that money could be used for the Board of Health and helping them with their budgeting. Appears most of the money will go towards critical access hospitals, EMS, OB, and emergency room type situations, so very little available to be used by the Board of Health. Representative McCann was helpful in pointing us towards the committee meeting where this was discussed. On the 15th, I was honored and proud to attend the Western Wyoming Community College graduation ceremony. My daughter Lauren graduated with her bachelor's in science and business organizational management. Pretty proud of her, to say the least, for a lot of reasons, but she went to school full-time, she worked full-time, and she lived on her own. So she certainly had a lot of hard work and dedication, and to say I'm proud is an understatement. So congratulations, sweetie. I love you very much. And that's the end of my report.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Questions or comments for Commissioner Jones?
Just
Mr. Sweetwater?
congratulations on your daughter's accomplishment.
Thank you.
That's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Job well done, Lauren. Like to say I've been there, but mine was a little different because I attended college and then came back home and went to work and finished. So it's not near as the achievable story, but nonetheless, anytime you get her done, that's something to be proud of. So congratulations to her and your family.
Yes, I repeat that. Congratulations, and great to hear that.
Thank you.
All right, I guess
Have you attended kindergarten graduation yet?
that is upcoming. 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. So, I'll try not to be too repetitive here. I don't have anything prepared, so this might be kind of interesting. The day after our last meeting, I attended the mayor and commissioner luncheon with the mayor's, obviously, Rock Springs Green River and the chamber director and board president there. More of the similar discussions. We did talk about the agreement between the joint powers partners on the Sweetwater County Combined Communications Center relative to some of the different language as well as percentages. I know you've been working on that, Commissioner, so I'll get together with you in regards to that. We also talked ambulance briefly, and then most of the other time was spent discussing some of the different ward boundary adjustments for the city of Rock Springs. A couple days after that, I attended a Sweetwater County Regional Economic Development call hosted by Chloe Valentine with Wyoming Business Council. Just a group of a few different stakeholders getting together to share the different happenings they have going on. Not a whole lot to report or bring back to you from that. However, that kind of led into the meeting the following day, which was put on by the Sweetwater County Power Coalition in conjunction with Rocky Mountain Power. And there was representatives from Rocky Mountain Power. The meeting was up at the college. Vice President of Governmental Affairs and Vice President of Customers or Customer Service, I think it was, but obviously largely centered around the different, I guess, some hurdles and challenges with our electrical utility and I guess the infrastructure available with that. And so there was lots of back and forth in that regard, a little bit of a chicken and egg, if you will, with some of the different conversations. It was stated that Rocky Mountain Power is long on generation and short on transmission. And so essentially, a lot of the hurdles that they're faced with are in regards to the transmission of it. And the generation is not the issue, and obviously the hyperscalers, as they refer to them as, are the large load needs and demands that are creating the uncertainty and the difficulties with some of that growth. However, it was largely discussed that obviously we've had issues with expansions at the mines and not being able to provide the adequate power. So much of the industry here locally is having to co-generate and develop their own power plants, and so lots of discussion there. It was shared that the entire state of Wyoming operates off of 1 gigawatt, and some of these, hyperscalers that are out there and interested in investing in different communities at given times, can require at least that, 1 gigawatt in itself. And so the state of Utah is operating on 3 gigawatts. They shared an example of a company that came in and said they need 9 gigawatt in a 2-year period. And so obviously you can kind of connect the dots on some of the difficulties there. But obviously there are other areas within the state, particularly on the east side that we spoke about in previous meetings with Black Hills Energy and the large load tariff and the success that they've had in Laramie County. Rocky Mountain Power is aware of that. Apparently that's a Schedule 400, which is a public service tariff. And there seems to be some conversations in the works on that. But it was kind of that, we want to know where your growth is, and we were responding with, well, we need to know where we can, promote economic development based off the availability. And so that's kind of what got into the chicken and the egg example, but it was shared. Representative Heiner was in attendance and said that the legislature passed, I believe it was House Bill 120, which allows for the designation of sovereign zones, which is just basically industrial zones that has an expedited permitting process. And there's, I believe, some other tax exempt opportunity there. And so at the conclusion of the meeting, it was kind of agreed that the coalition will set up a working group with Rocky Mountain Power to focus on some next steps forward and develop a working plan, and obviously explore what these sovereign zones might look like. And so a good conversation. Appreciate them showing up. I don't know that it accomplished a whole lot, but at least it's a conversation starter, and it allows for us to put some pressure on the utility and at least align or understand where they're at, and perhaps develop a plan moving forward, because I just feel like there's a lot of missed opportunity there that they need to figure out. So outside of that, it's budget season. I've had plenty of requests to discuss budget, and I keep reminding everyone I'm just one of 5, so I'm happy to hear you out. But hopefully you guys are getting the same request, because it's been kind of difficult with not knowing exactly where we're at projection wise. I did meet with Candy Pendleton, the events complex, to go over their budgeting process. We also had a little tug of war match on the agreement between the county and the events complex in regards to the pari-mutuel historic horse racing agreement that will be coming before you. I know I've spoke about it for a few months now, but it'll be on our next agenda on the 2nd. The events complex will discuss it at their monthly meeting next week. But we did kind of come to terms on that, so we'll see what you all feel, if you agree or not. The events complex budget's relatively flat coming into fiscal year 27, and we went over a large discussion on some of the financial constraints and loss of revenues they will have with some of these larger events and venues not being there or coming back for this summer. So day after that, I met with the newly appointed clerk of district court, Amanda Chetterbach, to go over some of the different budget items within her department and get a quick tour of the department upstairs with some of the different challenges and growing space and et cetera. So I appreciate her time, as well as Randy's, to get a little more familiarized with that department. Yesterday, I attended the Sweetwater County Water Users Coalition meeting. Not a whole lot to report outside of what you're already aware of with some of the challenges given the Colorado River, and there's a handful of working group meetings in the coming weeks here, but more of the same with that. You're aware of the recent release, and between the 600 to 1 million acre feet intention over May of 26 through May of 27. So I think that's all I have. 'Tis the season. I look forward to getting through the budget, although challenging. We had requests come in last Friday, and so now the real fun begins. Let's stand for any questions. All right. It's going to move us along into tab C, which is the action and presentation items. And first is an update by Sheriff Grossnickel. Morning, sir.
Morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Just want to thank you for this time. There's been some rumors around the community about our ICE contract, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. In particular, that the county is not receiving any funding from these contracts. So what I did is had the undersheriff pull the financials, and this is all public information because it's sitting in the books right now. As far as our task force goes, the wages, which are paid 100% plus benefits when they're working on ICE details, so far has been paid $6,584 with an additional bill that was sent out for $6,645 for a total of $13,229. With that, we can probably anticipate another $7,500 to $10,000 in wages by the time August 1st comes around. That's when we started the contract. And that's when the federal government's fiscal year starts also. In October, we were given a transport stipend of $100,000, which is still sitting there. That has not been spent yet, but that is in the bank right now. Equipment and IT support stipends, we received $22,500 for the first quarter. And then for the quarter of January through March, we've received $45,000. The next quarter stipend in June, we should receive the same by the end of our fiscal year. And by the end of October, it'll be a total of $105,000. And to date, we've received $167,500 in stipends with an estimated total by the time October comes around of $377,500 in those stipends. Our transportation, this is separate from the transportation transport stipend that I mentioned. This is a pays for wages and mileage for our detention staff to transport ICE detainees from, now it's Salt Lake, it was Denver, and then other counties that we house those. And that so far has been paid $20,530. We can anticipate probably another $20,000 by the time October comes around. Now, our inmate housing, since this started in October, so far we've been paid out $370,604.81. It's difficult to predict exactly what that's going to be because that depends on how many inmates we do have, how many detainees from ICE we have. But a good estimation is another $185,302. Our total inmate housing revenue received from all sources, that includes the outside agencies, the state, other federal agencies, so far this year is $527,126. So with that, you can see that we'll be generating well over $1 million with our ICE contracts and our inmate housing report. So I just wanted to clarify that because it has been going around that we're not receiving any money for this contract. Secondly, I'm sure everybody knew this date was coming. I want to announce my intent to vacate my position as sheriff effective May 31st of this year. A big thank you to the community for allowing me to be the sheriff, the employees for being instrumental in the change and the hard work that we put forth when I became sheriff. Big shout out to the county attorney's office for working hand in hand to make sure our community is better now. All the other elected officials, department heads, and of course, Christina for putting up with all the grants that we're always going to her for. The Board of County Commissioners, we have a very positive working relationship that we are the envy of many, many sheriffs across the state, just so you all know. A lot of sheriffs watch you guys, and I heard from the Lincoln County Sheriff that this is how a Board of County Commissioners meeting should be run. So be proud of that. I'm proud of the relationship that we have and how we're able to benefit our community. Most of all, my wife, Patty, our kids, Ryan, Drew, Chance, Cameron, and Macy. I think we all know that the family members of elected officials feel more stress and negative emotions than any of us ever do. So I wish everyone the best and look forward to continuing to work with you because you're not going to get rid of me.
Thank you, Sheriff. Questions, comments, commissioners? Commissioner Jones.
Just a comment, I guess. Thank you for all your years of service. Just to kind of make a point about our relationship, I think for me, the biggest reason we have a good relationship is there's a level of trust there. We know if you tell us something, it's the truth, and sometimes they aren't always fun conversations, but it's the real conversation. It's the truth. And that's the only way you can really have a good relationship. And so there's probably a myriad of different reasons why we could thank you for your service and what you've done, but I really want to thank you for the trust.
Thank you.
Commissioner Slaughter.
Yeah, Sheriff, just want to congratulate you, wish you the very best. It's been a good working relationship that we've had, not only as commissioner, but as another elected official working with you, and have always felt that true respect. So appreciate what you're doing and wish you the best. I know that we will be seeing a lot of you, and we'll be seeing some good things.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Commissioner Tillman.
Ditto to all that, but it's been great working with you. Appreciate it very much and looking forward to seeing what can happen with your new role.
I am too. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working together. A lot of what you said comes back to your leadership and the relationship that you've established, and you've been a hell of a sheriff and a job well done for this community. Being, I guess, chairman, I've had the opportunity to work a little more one-on-one with you in certain situations as the liaison to the elected officials, but you're very forward thinking and looking into the future and always trying to look at ways that the county can make more money, which is a difficult thing when we're always preaching to cut your budgets. And I've just really appreciated the openness and the fairness that you brought forth. In our 4 years of sitting up here, I think your budget has been flat across the board, outside of capital improvements and obviously, some of the other variable, health insurance and things along those lines. But that's tough, as the department is, one of the largest in the county. And I just appreciate that. I appreciate the trust. I appreciate the willingness to work together, to sit down and have, conversation, whether it's difficult or not, and for moving this county forward and being open about it, and willing to take on any challenge that's presented, which obvious fits your next role.
Right.
So proud to call you a friend, proud to work with you. And the only thing I don't like is the fact that you're vacating to make this decision quite difficult here in a few weeks. But I wish you nothing but the best. Definitely a sacrifice on the family's part, and that one hits home. So 30 years is a remarkable career, and you deserve nothing but the best. So thank you for all you've done for Sweetwater County.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
We'll see you soon. With that, commissioners, obviously, we will probably take action at our next meeting as far as officially declaring, because we won't declare until the office has been vacated. So we will have something prepared for the June 2nd meeting to initiate that process. Good luck to you, Sheriff. That's going to bring us to item number 2, which is the approval of the memorandum of understanding for the dissolution of the Community Fine Arts CFAC board. And at this time, I'd hand it over to Commissioner Tillman.
Well, as we've stated repeatedly, we're not doing away with the Fine Arts Center, so I hope the rumors have stopped on that issue. The library will be setting up a special committee to continue work, and they have a special director for the Community Fine Arts Center. We are dissolving the board because in 2016, they failed to update the 501c3 status for the Community Fine Arts Center. So it really has not been legally, I guess, in place since that time. So we're just doing a cleanup, actually, based on what is actually happening. So based on that, I would make the motion to dissolve the Community Fine Arts Center board.
Hang on, I lost my spot.
Or answer any
Sorry,
questions.
sorry. We do have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the dissolution of the Community Fine Arts Board by Commissioner Toman. I believe we had a second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? And if I understand it correctly, Commissioner, this has been a mutual decision between the City of Rock Springs, the school district, and ourselves, of which
Right.
we are the last to formally approve.
Right.
Do you have a motion and a second on the table? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Appreciate your work on that, Commissioner. It's going to move us to item number 3, which is the Southwest Counseling Service Fiscal Year 27 State Contract. And joining us this morning is Interim Director of Southwest Counseling, Melissa Ray Marchetti. And good morning to you.
Morning, Chairman West, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. Coming before you today as the last meeting as the interim director, and I am very much so looking forward to passing this torch over to another individual. Today is simply to go ahead and let you know of 2 particular contracts. The first one is our crisis contract that you all have on your board. This is one that the state requires the commissioner's signature. This is to go ahead and provide crisis services as defined in the attachment, as well as 2 crisis residential beds. The second contract is our large state contract, our primary funding source for Southwest Counseling Service. This is in the amount of the $9,509,801.77. Just want to point out as well too that $1,194,152.25 is pass-through funds to Uinta County for their residential beds that are in close proximity to our Wyoming State Hospital. So I'll stand for any questions regarding these agreements to come before the commissioners.
Thanks, Melissa. Questions on either of the agreements, the state contract or the crisis treatment? Well, let's just start with the state contract because we broke them up there. Are there any changes that you're aware of on the state contract, Melissa, as far as from last year to this year?
Chairman West, there are not. It is the same funding amount. There are no changes in terms of how the funding is broken out between service dollars as well as the fixed payment. So no changes.
Okay. And do we actually need to approve this one? I know there's a signature on the crisis treatment agreement, but is this just a courtesy?
I straightened it out with the state to let them know this is the one that should require signature. They stated they don't require it at this point in time, but yes, to take action for approval, or even just to say that we've acknowledged that I've provided you with the information of our state contract.
Okay. Any further discussion? Not to entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 27 state contract submitted by Southwest Counseling Service as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any further discussion?
Has it kind of worked out, the changes the legislature made a couple of years ago? Is that kind of evened out? You're receiving the money that you need to operate? I know they kind of specified certain things.
Yes, Chairman West, Commissioner Toman, the behavioral health redesign changes have impacted our days of cash on hand greatly. It is now a fee for service drawdown, whereas the previous contracts back in FY23 were a 1/12. So it has impacted the cash flow. We are actually very successful, Southwest Counseling, in terms of drawing down those contracts and providing those services. So we will catch up. We've wrapped up some ARPA capital projects, thankfully, which has also impacted that. But specific to the state funding dollars, this next fiscal year, there will still be quarterly true-up payments. So we will be made whole in our contract. That is not a guarantee for FY28. So that may have impact on our state contract down the road.
How do those true-up payments come, or when do they come through, I guess I should say?
They come after the end of each quarter,
Okay.
the month following the end quarter.
So that's where some of the concern with days cash on hand came from is, okay.
Yes, the month after the end of the quarter looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Additional discussion.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hearing none, we do have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. That'll bring us to
Thank
item
you.
4, which is the crisis treatment agreement. I think Melissa already went over. She gone.
That one was bad.
No, you're good. You already went over it, but we have them separate.
To be Commissioner West.
You're good. Any questions on the crisis treatment agreement, Commissioner? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented and authorize the chair to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. We're done.
Thank you, commissioners. I will be departing now.
Stepping up to the role.
I'm sorry.
So thanks for stepping up to the role.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that, Commissioner West. It's been a
Just a
struggle
few months, so.
to fulfill both positions, almost 3 positions with the grants. And I'm very much so looking forward to the individual coming on. I think it's not a secret, but just very much so looking forward to working with John. And I think it's going to be a great movement forward for our agency and a fresh perspective. So
Very good.
very excited.
We'll support you along the way and we look for good things. So
Wonderful.
thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
over.
Of course.
Sorry to hold you up.
I'm out of here.
Gonna bring us to item number 5, which is resolution 26-05-CC-05, a resolution authorizing the appointment of a special prosecutor. And I believe Chief Deputy County Attorney De Leon can answer any questions if you have any. Or John, if you wanted to add anything.
I think these are pretty straightforward if there's any questions.
Oops, clicked on the wrong one.
And these don't cost, it's something you share with other counties.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Tolman. The county attorney reaches out to another county attorney, contracts with them. There's no costs associated. Our county attorney's office does the same thing in the event of a conflict for those other county attorney's offices.
Entertain a motion to approve resolution 26-05-CC-05, a resolution authorizing the appointment of a special prosecutor as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Tillman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. It's going to bring us to a break. We are about 30 minutes ahead of schedule, commissioners. So we are going to see Jane's here, and he's got primarily everything other than Rebecca. Let's take a break for about 10 minutes. We'll resume at 10:05. Everyone good? Good. We live? Okay. Call this meeting back to order. We have returned from break. We're still ahead of schedule, so we'll do our best to keep the foot on the gas pedal there. We left off at item number 7, which is the lease agreement between Star and Sweetwater County for the facility at 430 West Blair. And joining us this morning is Public Works Director Gene Legerski. Morning, Gene.
Morning. Thank you, Chairman West, Commissioners. I will try not to drag this down. So you guys are so far behind. I'm going to try to make sure I keep you that way. What you have before you is the Star Transit lease for 430 West Blair, which used to be the old Fleet Building. As you know, we've been working back and forth with Director Pacheco and their staff on trying to get them in the building so they can do various stuff. They've also including it in their study that they've been doing. So what I would like to do is just, if you have any questions on the commercial lease, we went back and forth a couple times on just different things as far as insurance and everything like that. Everybody's looked at it. Everybody's happy with it, but I'll stand for questions on the lease.
Very good. Thanks, Gene. Looks like it's through February 26th of 27 for the time being.
Correct. And there is we can add more time with it, but that's hopefully the time, about 2 months after their study comes up, and then all the other funding opportunities that they've talked about with, with us.
Very good. Questions for staff on the proposal and the agreement?
Well, they're still, excuse me,
Commissioner Thomas.
they're still looking maybe to try to buy it though, right?
Yes, that's part of why the contract is out so far, and it's kind of a weird date. They are looking at buying it along with the other buildings that they are currently looking at. They're not just focused on that one. They're actually doing a study.
Yeah, I believe they're pursuing grant opportunities to see that may assist with their future decision making. Any other questions or discussion? Not to entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement between Star and Sweetwater County for the facility at 430 West Blair as presented, and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. It's going to bring us to item number 8, which is resolution 26-05-EN-02. A resolution regarding a petition to establish a publicly dedicated roadway. I'll hand it back to Gene.
Mr. Chairman, this is from direction from the board last meeting regarding the Tolman Ranch Road. This is just to codify everything that happened 3 years ago, because that resolution was outstanding and it was approved to go through the process. But enough things have changed that I brought it before you guys last meeting, and it has changed. And what we did is in the therefore section, we codified those things, the high points that we talked about. So this resolution is a positive resolution to support the Tolman Ranch Road.
Yeah, so if I understand it right, obviously we approved it back at the intent
2023. Yep.
to move forward with a viewer 2023. We asked to have that updated the last meeting, but that one failed. And so technically speaking, the original would still be on the table. So this
Correct.
would vote to kind of kill everything, if you will.
Correct. And we reference in the whereas statement both of those resolutions, so everybody knows how it all ties together.
Very good. Appreciate that. Discussion on the resolution, commissioners. Not to entertain a motion to approve resolution 26-05-EN-02, a resolution regarding a petition to establish a publicly dedicated roadway as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Any further discussion?
Abstain.
Very good. We do have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0 with one abstaining. Commissioner Toman has abstained. It's going to bring us to item number 9, which is change order number 1 to the Rock Springs Youth Home roofing contract, and we'll hand it back to Gene.
Mr. Chairman, this is a change order for the Sweetwater County Rock Springs Youth Home roofing project. It was one of those projects, I believe you had talked about it last week or last meeting, that it was going to go very, very fast. Just so the commissioner knows, they came in after the snow on Tuesday afternoon. About 1:30, they jumped up on the roof and they got the roof, the shed, and the garage done, and they were leaving by 3 o'clock on Friday. They did a great job. Everything was done. They had multiple inspections by the city of Rock Springs that passed, multiple inspections by myself. We added a couple things on there because of where it is, the wind location that was mutually agreed upon. However, once we started stripping off some of the decking, you just can't tell how much decking I guessed, to be honest with you, because you can feel soft spots, but you don't know. But they did take care of all of the decking problems and everything like that. And that was the need for the change order. We ran out of contingency and we exceeded the contingency amount by just that little bit. There is plenty of money in this line item in the capital project, so that's not a problem. However, this needs to be approved so we can get them completely paid out and start advertising.
Appreciate that, Gene. Yeah, pretty impressive work. I drive by that facility every day when I'm going to my other hat, and it didn't take long.
No, it
They had
didn't.
quite the crew.
They had quite the crew up there. Yeah. They had 14 individuals on that roof at one point. So, and all knew their job very well. And like I said, anytime you jump up there, you could talk to any one of them and they knew exactly what they're doing and they'd stop and explain it to you. So.
Oh, that's great. So I think if I understood it right, there's 3 change orders for various things that you just discussed, but with the contingency, the change order just nets an increase of 2,544.04 cents.
Correct. Yeah. So the contingency, just to let everybody know, was $7,500. That covered the first 2 and portion of the 3rd change order. We do it by change order, so just we have a recording, even though it goes into contingency, it's just easy to keep track that way. Everybody, if we get audited or whatever, it's on the same page.
Very good. Questions, commissioners?
So what was the total amount of all 3? Was 7,500? Is that what you meant?
No, the total of all 3 change order was $10,044.04. We had $7,500 in contingency that was already built into the contract to cover unforeseen conditions,
Okay,
and
I
we
see it.
exceeded that a little bit.
I see it on your tracking. Okay, thank you.
But overall, the project was under the engineer's estimate, as I recall.
By
so
20
correct.
grand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Further discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve change order number 1 to the Rock Springs Youth Home roofing contract. And authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose nay. Motion's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. It's gonna move us to item number 10, which is the capital projects and major expenditures policy and capital department structure. And joining us this morning is accounting specialist Rebecca Romero. And good morning.
Good morning. Yes, over the past few months, I was asked to look at a better way to handle the capital projects and reporting. As the current structure has been created is a little bit confusing. Especially how items are tracked and reported on our financials. So working with the capital committee, along with input from the auditors, we developed a new approach that keeps our required financials and function reporting in place while improving how capital is organized and presented. I did send the information out ahead of time for your review, so you would have an opportunity to look through the proposal and the policy before you today. The main change is the creation of the centralized capital department. This will allow all capital projects and major expenditures over $10,000 to be tracked in one place instead of being spread across multiple departments. Projects will be organized by functions such as general government and public safety. So our financial reporting remains the same. This structure will also simplify how project adjustments and transfers are handled while still keeping the board informed and maintaining your oversight on capital decisions. If approved, this change will take place in the upcoming 2027 budget. The departments will not need to make any changes to their current capital funding request. I will take care of all of those corrections and get everything in line. So at this point, do you have any questions?
Thanks, Rebecca. So let me start out with, I feel a little bit bad because you sent it. And when I first looked at it, I thought it was pretty straightforward. I didn't think anything of it. And I thought it kind of captured a lot of the previous conversations we've had throughout trying to find a way to simplify this budgeting process. And honestly, until I saw an article come out, I hadn't really thought about what it looks like, to the public. Obviously, we're trying to be as transparent as we possibly can. And it's not a department that we're creating. Department sounds like we're growing government, right? It's more or less a fund or an account, no different than the health insurance fund or I think it's just the title of it, right? But you're basically just taking it from the departments, putting it into a capital fund, just like you would with a health insurance fund. It's not that we're adding staff or, aligning a new department. So I understand your terminology of what you mean there, but I just think for clarification that we're trying to figure out a way to simplify the capital process. And I think it works well with the capital committee and being able to review those projects. I think some of the confusion that we learned last year was, whether it was talking about capital committed, capital encumbered, capital carryover. And so your goal here is to try and clarify and simplify that process along with some of the examples you've shared with the major expenditures that may be. I think the example was the county attorney's office that had a software program that it technically falls under capital because it was over $10,000, but it's just an ongoing expense in their operations, right?
Yes.
So am I capturing that?
Yes, and the auditors kind of pointed that out, like we're doing it this way, but then in our budget book, it's this way. And so it's just to kind of clarify and have everything in one spot.
Okay. And the only other thing I could think, which Sally caught me at the break, is I think the policy is good. Maybe we can, I don't know if department's the word. I don't know that I'm sold on that one, but can we do it in resolution format so that at least we have something to track it? I'm just fearful that if we pass the policy and it's just in our meeting minutes, that it's difficult when it's 4, 5, 6 years down the road and everyone goes, what policy are you talking about, right? I mean, it's coming from the clerk's office, so technically the clerk can put forth any policy that, she would like to consider for improving the process. But I think it's easier to track if we have a signature page and perhaps a resolution that points exactly to the policy. And that's where I apologize for bringing this to you last minute.
Oh,
But I didn't know, I know you're trying to implement it on July 1st, but if we were to postpone this to clean up some of those concerns, would that present any issues to you?
No, I can present it the next
Okay.
budget or the next hearing.
And that's just my take, but I would open it up for any other thoughts on it too. Commissioner Slaughter?
No, Mr. Chairman, I agree. I don't have any problem with that. I think one of the big benefits that I saw in this when we were talking about it with the capital committee is it will eliminate some of the budget resolutions, budget amendments that we've had going on through this process. And I think handling those within this fund will make things a little bit more simple. I think we will still have the ability to hear those changes as a commission, but we won't have to make those resolutions and amendments to our budget. It will be done through this capital department or fund or whatever you choose to call it here. So.
Or
Yeah,
can't we just
go ahead.
leave it as capital committee instead of department?
So it's still going to run through the capital committee and
Yes.
any changes as far as an amendment would still, if I read it properly, come before the board. It would just be rather than a formal budget amendment, they're going to have the ability to move unspent funds from one project to another, but it would still come before us through, I think it was listed as the consent agenda for approval rather than a
Yes.
formal budget amendment. Is that-
Yes, similar to the one that we did about a month ago, moving funds for the elevator project. That was in the same facilities maintenance department line item and expenditure line item, so it didn't require a budget amendment. We were just moving funds from one project to another, so it would be handled similar to that.
Okay. But if it were for different departments, like obviously that one was for facilities, but if you were
Mhm.
taking unspent funds from facilities to, just as an example, the detention center, that would still come back as a budget amendment, right?
Not under the new policy.
Okay.
They would all be
Yeah.
handled with the memo on the consent agenda for you to review. If you wanted a formal hearing, then you definitely have the ability to request that.
But either way, if we didn't
Yeah.
agree with it, for instance, we would just remove it from the consent agenda and vote against it.
Yes.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Commissioner? Any other discussion?
So, Mr. Chairman, we're going to ask for a resolution and we're not going to call it department. We're just going to leave it capital committee.
Well, that's just, I mean,
Like on this page, it says capital department, but can we just leave it capital committee instead of creating department?
So I think it's a little bit separate from the committee, right? The committee's going to review everything, but what she's talking about is more or less creating a fund,
Mhm.
an account, right? So rather than,
But we don't call it department. What are we gonna call it then? What are we gonna
Not
call it, Jean?
I put it under department rather than creating another fund so that it's still tied up to the general fund, because that's essentially where the money is going to be coming from. We're not creating a separate checking account, et cetera, to actually create a general or another fund. So that's why it needs to go under department, but then under department, each general government, public safety, health and welfare will have their own org to keep all of those separate, to keep in line with our function reporting for the audit.
It's still confusing though. It's like you're creating a department.
Yes, and then under that department,
But is there another word?
yeah, it's an accounting department, right?
yes.
It's a
Yeah,
line item within the general fund account,
Yes.
basically. I think we can figure out a way to make it a little more.
There you go.
If you're good with it, I mean, that would be my recommendation. If we postpone this, we'll get a resolution that'll kind of highlight everything we're talking about, allow for a signature page. We can try and get some of that clarified if that's not going to delay your process at all.
no.
Okay. If everyone's good with that. Okay. Well, I would no. We have to move on that?
Not
Not
as of
technically?
today, no.
Okay. So we will hold off on that and we'll get together with you and hopefully bring it back for the June 2nd meeting. And I apologize. Like I said, the more you kind of sit on these and review them, I had different thoughts after the fact, but like I said, initially when you sent it, I thought it made sense. So I apologize for waiting until today, but at least allowed for some debate back and forth. So
Okay,
thanks
thank
for
you.
putting it together. Any other discussion on that before we move on? Okay, that's going to take us to item number 11, which is the 2026 Sweetwater County Commissioner Scholarship. And this is the unique opportunity that we are blessed with each year to award scholarships to individuals who wish to continue their education within the state of Wyoming through either the university or a community college through a partnership with the University of Wyoming. But we do have applications. They are confidential. So we need to discuss those in executive session. And then upon coming out of executive, we will obviously take action in that realm. We do have 3 items to discuss in executive. One is for personnel, another for real estate, and another for potential litigation. So as stated, once we do come out, we will be taking action. But at this time, we do need to enter into executive to discuss those matters. So I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? We will take this up across the hallway in the Castle Rock room, try and be speedy as possible, and we'll resume at that time. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous, and we are now in executive.
the selected action. It doesn't say who, it just says move to award the 2026 Sweetwater County Commissioner Scholarship to the following recipients, 1, 2, 3, and then first and second.
Okay. Entertain a motion to come out of executive session and reconvene the meeting.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're out of executive. We do have action that needs to be taken. Commissioners, first, I'd entertain a motion to approve the sale of county properties at market value and authorize the chairman to sign any corresponding documents.
So moved.
Give that one to Rob. We got a motion by Commissioner Slaughter. I believe we had a second. Second by Commissioner Toman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Commissioner Jones has abstained. Next, commissioners, I would entertain a motion to award the University of Wyoming 2026 to 2027 County Commissioners Scholarships to Noah Sanchez, Teague Powell, and Cole Johnson. Now look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Toman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. As such, if for whatever reason something changes and these scholarships can't be utilized, part of the process is to select alternates, and those alternates have to be done in order, so that obviously it's a next in line kind of chronological setup with that. So commissioners, I would entertain a motion to select Aislinn Abram as the first alternate, Addison Sellers as the second alternate, and Macy Santoff is the third alternate. And I would look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomon. Any discussion?
I don't know, we're starting to all think alike. These are outstanding candidates and we all came up with the same 6 in different order. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, I would just add that it's, as always, one of the more difficult decisions we have to make. This year we had 14 applicants, so I appreciate the interest in that. In the past, we've had a lot less than that, so definitely makes the decision a difficult thing. And congratulations to those that have been selected, and we certainly appreciate the relationship we have with the University of Wyoming to try and promote some of our own here at home. So congratulations.
They were all strong candidates, so it was tough to pick.
With a motion and a second on the table for the alternates, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Couple quick announcements, commissioners. I forgot to bring up in commissioner comments. So our next meeting will be June 2nd. We will have a budget workshop later that afternoon, which I believe we have slated for 3 o'clock. So we'll see how busy that morning goes with the regular business. We also received an invitation to attend the swearing in and robing ceremony for the Honorable Judge Clark Stith, which will take place on June 16th's meeting, and that begins at 9 a.m. So I believe if we postpone our meeting until a delayed start for 10 a.m., we could all be in attendance for that if we're all in agreement. We'll take,
And that one's on the 16th and it's the second meeting, right?
correct. Just a heads up to plan for. We'll review it again next meeting just to make sure, but if everyone's good with that.
Yep.
No further business. This meeting stands adjourned. That fell, sorry.
Phew,
It slept.
glad I don't have a hearing aid. It probably would blow my brains
That
out.
wasn't my knee.